Tampa Bay has not played well all
No.
year. And that Tampa Bay staff was the coaching staff that I had when I played for the Cardinals. So that's another reason why I'm really interested in that. And I'm a big fan of Todd Bowles. And they've had a lot of things going on. So it's going to be interesting to see two teams that have had a lot of stuff going on all year to play in the playoffs, really.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the teams almost were under 500.
Yeah.
So that's just going to be an interesting, game to watch.
You know they were trying to bring in an eighth team from each conference to make the playoffs this year with the whole DeMar Hamlin thing? Do you know they were trying to do that? The NFL was trying to bring in that. They're trying to bring in more revenue, as we know what Roger Goodell likes to do. But it didn't make any sense. 7 teams is enough. Really, it should have been 6. It should have been
enough.
6.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of these teams we've seen over the years. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Seattle made it under 500. They made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, they were 7-9. I'm sure your 2013 Cardinals would have loved to get in at 10-6. You guys missed.
Right? Were they 7-9 or were they?
They were
9-9?
7-9.
7-9. They were.
See, and that's tough, right? I mean, an under 500 team making it to the playoffs is kind of tough. Like.
Tell me about it. I'm a Jet fan.
No, I know, and I feel bad for teams like your Cardinals team. You guys were 10-6 and just missed out on a tiebreaker. I'm a Giants fan. They had it twice in 3 years. They were 10-6 and just missed on a tiebreaker. It's
right. And then when I was a rookie, my first year we made it to the playoffs at 8-8. We we won the division, the AFC West at 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
All week. We got talked about. It was really bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. We had a home game against the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton Manning, Indianapolis Colts.
I remember that game, yeah.
They were a wild card that year because the Tennessee Titans were 13-3. Right. So they didn't win the division. They were a wild card, and everyone said that the Chargers shouldn't have a home game, and gave us a hard time. And we went in there and won the game. So I've been on both ends of it where we've been 8-8, 500, got to the playoffs, and actually won a game.
Speedy, why don't you tell Antoine what you call the no longer the LA Chargers?
Okay. All right. Well, I've always called them since 2009. Again, you were part of that team, so it was kind of tough. But once you guys lost to the Jets, you're my Super Bowl pick that year. You're that team, and
I can't believe that.
And all the weird ways that they seem to lose. I started calling them the least clutch team in football.
Well, you know what? Hey, I can't even argue that because I was sitting there like, how the heck are we losing like this? Like this is insane.
Yeah, and we also had the Chargers' former punter Darren Bennett. We had on the show too, and he was actually kind of laughing at that too. And he was mentioning a lot of the Chargers' special teams history since they got rid of Mike Cyphers too. And it was just like, yeah, it's pretty true.
Antoine, before we let you go, I have a question. Could you tell us the funniest Phillip Rivers story that you can tell us? Funniest story that you could tell us about Phillip Rivers?
The funniest Phillip Rivers story.
Do you have a story that you could pick and nitpick? Because we've heard stories that he used to hide in the bushes and scare people in the morning when they're about to go to practice. I mean, he did some crazy stuff. We've had some of your former teammates on the show, and they told us some of the crazy things he used to do.
Well, you know what? I'll keep it to this then, because this was pretty funny for me. In the locker room and between meetings and when we have time off, people will play cards or dominoes. So Phillip is like, what are you guys playing? Dominoes, brother. Like, what do you mean? He sits down to try and play. He has no clue. Obviously, he's going, he's a smart dude. He's going to figure it out pretty quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way he was holding his dominoes and trying to put them down, and we're playing with him and he drops them all on the table. And we're just sitting there like, Phillip, you got to get up. Okay. Like you got to go, you got to figure out how to play this game and then come back. So that was, I think that might've been more of a moment thing, but that was the first Phillip Rivers story that popped in my head. That was pretty funny. Him for the first time trying to play dominoes.
You should have been counting dominoes the same way people count cards and claim they cheat.
Well, we've heard some crazy stories about Phillip Rivers and Mr. Window Thrower, who I believe is a Hall of Famer and a fantastic performer on the field.